Firstly, thank you very much for joining us. I was hoping the both of you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself to start us off.
My name is Louisa Beresford and I'm from Holiday Autos.
My name is Dilara Tetik and I'm a relationship psychologist.
So we're going to be talking all about weddings, and I was hoping you could start off by telling us what you think sort of influences us, and sort of talk about the sort of time we travel to weddings as well.
Sure. So we at holidayautos.com commissioned some research to try and understand what the influences were to attending weddings. And one of the biggest things that we found is that 30% of our respondents indicated that travel time was one of the key factors on making that decision. Most of our respondents were unwilling to travel over 4 hours. In fact, 80% of them indicated that they wouldn't attend a wedding if it was more than 4 hours away.
And when it comes to the relationship, the psychology behind it entirely depends of their relationship with the bride and groom. It depends like how they know, how long they know each other, how often they interact, and their relationship dynamics, and how the bride and groom actually have been responding to their needs throughout their friendship or whatever the relationship type they might be having. It just makes it more worthwhile for them to travel.
So what are some of the most common excuses given for not attending a wedding?
I mean, you have kind of the more common excuses, such as, being unwell or money, but actually a surprising 16% of them said that they had no transportation, or, getting to the venue was going to be difficult.
And the other things could be that the taking time off could be a challenge, or even sometimes like if they don't know anybody else attending the wedding, if this is some sort of a remote area, they don't feel very comfortable to attend.
So how can we make the sort of trip worthwhile when travelling to a wedding in the UK?
Well, what we find does tend to work well is that people more and more are thinking about extending their trip by a couple of days. So turning it into a bit of a road trip, maybe checking out some of the local highlights of the local area, heritage sites or natural beauty spots. So it's a good opportunity just to kind of explore and understand a little bit more around where they're heading off to for the wedding.
Like Louisa said, just extending it and just making it a bit of a road trip and a bit of a break is actually psychologically shift their perspective as well, because rather than thinking, I have to drive 3 or 4 hours, or we have to drive 3 or 4 hours for the wedding, it's like we're going to attend a wedding, but the next day we're going to go to the beach, or we're going to go for this place that we've never been before. So it just shifts the psychology in saying that that's something in it for them as well. So it makes it worthwhile again for the journey.
And how can we make those sort of trips more stress-free?
I think there's a couple of things that you can think about and keep in mind. Especially if there's a few of you sharing the journey, make sure you have enough space in the car. So if you're hiring a car, make sure it's big enough for all your bags and all the people that are there. And then, I guess apart from that, there's the planning aspect that Dilara can talk more about.
It could be ideal actually to in advance to prepare maybe their favorite music playlist, and then they could listen to their favorite radio show. They could listen to audiobook, or if they know anybody, any friends or other relatives attending the wedding, they could actually organise to go together, and that would give them a chance to be able to catch up. So it's not just going to be driving for 3-4 hours, but it's just a fun trip where they can catch up or listen to music, listen to radio shows.
Was there anything else you'd like to cover or get over to our listeners?
I guess just to suggest that we've got some great tips on our blog at holidayautos.com on how to have a great car hire experience and for planning that perfect trip, just to make it as stress-free as possible.
I would say have fun and drive carefully.
So where can our listeners find out a little bit more?
You can find out some more on holidayautos.com and also to check out our blog for some great tips.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for talking to us here at Art Radio Transmission in Kent.
Thanks very much, Daniel.
Thank you very much for having us.